Good evening and welcome to a new episode of our program, The Daily Debate. It's Wednesday evening. I'm Yasmin Bakir. Tonight we're going to be shedding light on the mega national projects in Egypt and in specific the new administrative capital. Now, on many occasions, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has underlined the importance of the major national projects that have been ongoing here in Egypt in order to achieve development and as well backing the national economy, creating jobs and improving the living standards of Egyptians. According to a report that has been released recently by the Oxford Business Group, Egypt is moving forward as the center of the economic growth and possibly the only country in the region with a positive, continuous progress and development in terms of projects and in terms of investments. To know more about this episode, we're going to be shedding further light with our guests who are going to be joining us over the phone about the importance of the mega national projects today after many years of a strict austerity and economic reform program, and how far has that been reflected internally and externally on the investments and the developments of Egypt. We're going to know more about the importance of such a report that has been released by the Oxford Business Group, and how does that seem to be a kind of an indicator on the progress of the Egyptian economic performance. Before that, let's take a look at this report. And President al-Sisi tours and inspects a construction site at the new administrative capital recently. Let's take a look.
Throughout this week, President Fattah al-Sisi visited the new administrative capital several times to inspect construction sites, follow up on the workflow and the project completion rate, and to be briefed on the progress made so far in the new administrative capital. On Saturday, President Fattah al-Sisi went on a tour of inspection of a number of construction projects and sites in the new administrative capital, including Egypt International City for Olympic Games, the largest integrated Olympic sports city in the Middle East that is established in coordination with all international sports federations in accordance with each sport's latest global technical standards and procedures. This city adds to the infrastructure established in the field of international sporting activity in Egypt and the region in a manner that qualifies Egypt to host and organize major international sports competitions and events at the highest level. On Sunday, President Fattah al-Sisi went on a tour of inspection of the state's Strategic Leadership Center, which has been lately established in the new administrative capital. The construction adhered to the latest technologies aligned with Egypt's future vision. The presidential spokesman stated that His Excellency President Fattah al-Sisi listened to an in-depth explanation of all the components of the new SSLC, its latest construction and infrastructure updates that were executed, the state-of-the-art designs and implementation, using the latest communication and information technologies along surveillance systems and smart systems for leadership and control, which would enhance the state's capabilities to manage its institutions with the highest efficiency possible under any circumstances. The new SSLC complex is an embodiment of Egypt's future vision, a promising regional force, a pioneering nation that has and will always be capable of defeating any obstacles while achieving the inspirations of its unified people and strong armed forces. President Fattah al-Sisi inspected on Monday several construction sites in the new administrative capital, including the Arts and Culture City and the new Opera House. The president hailed the construction and designs of the Arts and Culture City, which will be the largest artistic city in the Middle East. The city will house several theaters, cinemas, libraries, and museums, as it was established in line with international standards to be a beacon of arts and culture in the region. During the different visits the president paid to NAC throughout the week, he praised the efforts made to finalize and get the new administrative capital ready based on the planned timeline, assuring the state's keenness to upgrade its capabilities in all fields to keep up with the latest scientific and technical progress to preserve the security and the territorial integrity of the nation. Long live Egypt! Long live Egypt! Long live Egypt!
Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on the Daily Debate, and to shed further light on these development projects that have been taking place in the new administrative capital, are still under construction, and which the President specifically has inspected last Saturday. I'm delighted to have joining me over the phone Mr. Haytham Atta, Contracts and Commercial Manager at the Administrative Capital for Urban Development. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, Engineer.
Good evening, and thank you for you and the audience.
Now, last Saturday, President Assisi had inspected the new administrative capital. Of course, we do know this is not the first time the President is always inspecting and is keen to follow up personally on the development of the projects, whether they are construction works or even infrastructure. Let me talk specifically about the Egypt International City for Olympic Games project. And we have seen tremendous construction that has been going on, and it's huge. We're talking about thousands of stadiums to hold thousands of people, and different stadiums for the Olympics. So if we're going to talk about how that kind of Olympic city is going to be reflecting globally, what can you tell me?
Yes, firstly, I want to highlight, as you said in the beginning, that this is not the first time that Mr. President himself follow up the construction status in the new administrative capital, and he's serious and keen to give support to all people working there, starting from the workers, the labor, up to the engineers, especially during these tough times, during the pandemic and these tough conditions all over the world, not only in Egypt. And specifically for the Egypt's Olympic City, this huge project in the new administrative capital. Also, I want to highlight that this city will include two covered halls, two mega covered halls. One of them can host around 15,000 person, and the other is around 8,000. And these halls are ready to host the audience and the international event for the Egyptian handball men World Cup in January 2021. Also, the Egypt Olympic City includes one international stadium with a capacity of 19,000 person. It's more than the Cairo Stadium, which is the largest stadium that we have. And as you see in the report and the photos, the stadium, it's around, let's say, more than 60 or 70% completed and waiting for the coverage of the stadium and the final cladding. This mega project, or this one of the mega projects in the new administrative capital, can absorb or can utilize a lot of people working there, and thousands of workers, engineers, and the industries also that are contributing to these projects. So we make use of this. Let's call it the Renaissance of construction in Egypt that happened from 3 or 4 years, especially after Mr. President comes on board. As you see that this impacts the GDP and minimize the unemployment percentage in Egypt. If you see these numbers, you will be sure that these projects affect a lot the market, the construction industry, and the other supporting industries also.
Yes, as you correctly said, I mean, thousands of guests are expected to be able to attend stadiums at different numbers and the different formats according to the activity or sports that is included. And I mean, I'm talking more about specifically here the sports activities and segment in Egypt. We do know that Egypt is very popular with many sports. We always have athletes who win medals internationally in different sports activities and tournaments worldwide. But if I'm going to talk to you more about this great infrastructure and in terms of the international sports activity, how does that reflect to Egypt? Especially that this is the biggest Olympic park or
Yes,
project
yes.
in the region as well.
Yes, as you see yes, as you see that we are doing our part as engineers to facilitate the environment and the infrastructure for the athletes in order to have the good environment to train, to develop their skills by constructing these huge and these massive cities that will be equipped with the latest and with the most recent technological equipment and infrastructure and the connectivity. So I think that we are in a very promising way for developing the athletes and the sports all over the country. As you see that over the past 2 or 3 years, especially for example, as for the handball, that we have young generation won I think the World Cup or the
Definitely, yes.
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 So this one we have the good, we have the calibers, we have the resources, and now we are moving forward to have the international infrastructure, the international academies. As you know, that these cities will be operated by the academies, the international academies, in order to grow up the new generations to compete in the international level, not only on the level of the MENA or the region, but for the international level, for the individual games and for the group games or the team.
Yes, Engineer Haytham, I mean, we spoke here several times before in the studio about the new administrative capital. You were talking about how optimistic the plan is and the phases that are being inaugurated, part by part. And now we see a different picture of the new administrative capital, not only it being a smart city with complexes and apartments and embassies and ministries, but also we're seeing, as we can see on screen right now, on real concrete ground, the Olympic city. But also let me talk about Sunday, because not just Saturday was the president inspecting the new administrative capital. Sunday also he went to inspect it, but this time he went to the State Strategic Leadership Center, which is also known as the Octagon, as you can see it from above, and it's just marvelous in terms of its infrastructure. The State Strategic Leadership Center, again, aligning with Egypt's vision of 2030, aligning with moving out and spreading to smart cities. What does this indicate, such a center at this place at this time?
Yes, as you said that we are lucky this week. We consider that the lucky week for us in the new administrative capital that that Mr. President has three tours or 3
Yes, we're going to talk about Monday, but we're still on Sunday now. So we're going to talk about what happened on Monday as well. But with regard to the State Strategic Leadership Center.
Yes, so the State Strategic Leadership Center, this is laid on the Octagon, as we said. This is linked to the new administrative capital. It is not located in the premises of the administrative capital. It's near to the administrative capital. As this state is secured by the nation or by the military, this will control the flow of info among the different governmental authorities and governmental entities. And this is what Mr. President highlighted before in one of the forums, that these will host the electronical brain of the state. That supposedly we are moving towards the digitalization, as you see that supported by Mr. President and by Mr. Prime Minister, that everything will be electronically facilitated or processed. We will get rid of the traditional archiving and paper and documentation. These centers will include the database of the government and can manage and distribute the flow of info in a secured way, in an efficient way that will help people to manage their processes and to manage to finalize their tasks all the time. So I think this is considered as one of the unique projects now, this strategic center, and this is aligned with the database that we are building in the new administrative capital. This our vision to the future, that all the new cities, not only the new administrative capital, should be aligned with the smart infrastructure in order to have a connected nation, connected country.
No, absolutely. And not only is the new administrative capital a hub and a compact city that includes complexes, buildings, ministries, as I said, and embassies and so forth. Sports, we have a strategic leadership center, and we also have interests in arts and culture. And here we're going to talk about the third consecutive day that President Sisi had inspected a tour in the new administrative capital, this time for the arts and cultural city. And we're talking about several theaters, cinemas, beautiful libraries, museums, which will actually also be considered the largest artistic city in the Middle East. So what we're witnessing in terms of projects in Egypt is not new and big and innovated for Egypt, but for the entire region and possibly Africa as well. So what does this sort of echo back globally to the position of Egypt on a political and economic level?
Yes, I have to say that we are trying in building our future and in shaping the innovative cities to consider all the aspects. As you say, that Egypt is a large country. Egypt is a civilized country, and when we deal with the foreigners, they align with Mr. Naguib Mahfouz's word, stating that Egypt comes before history.
Yes.
So after we take care of the infrastructure and the sports, which is mainly considering the human being in growing up the generations. Also, we consider or we take care of the
culture and arts.
Culture, yes, and arts. This city lays over around 127 acres. So it's a huge 127 acres, a huge city. This includes a lot of libraries, as you said, and museums, and also a new opera house. A new opera house built there. The capacity of this opera house is around 2,200 seats, which is double the current opera house laid over the Nile. I know that the old opera...
Yes, has its special essence, of course, historically, yes.
Yes. But this one also, it's a unique one. As you will see, that we consider the design of the architecture aspect of the opera and the old opera, and we try to elaborate more in this one. And I think the cultural city, which includes the museums, the libraries, and the new opera house, we consider it as elite project in the new administrative capital.
Magnificent, really.
Yes.
It's very magnificent.
Very specialized.
Yes.
As you say, as you see in the report, that the large contractors are working there. The designs are very distinguished. It's not an ordinary. We try to make a piece of art.
It is a piece of art, and actually I would like to really salute you guys for this outstanding work, because every city has its unique taste and there's a lot of Orientalism and modernity, and then there's the traditional building. So you really do enter another world when you're in the new administrative capital. And because it's so unique and full and compact as well, you just don't know where to start. There's just everything you need. Every single field is considered. Every single institution is being also adapting there. And we also move from there to the universities. We have a lot of international universities, an educational hub that is also at the new administrative capital. It was even constructed, I know, at an earlier phase, Engineer Haytham, and it's already working.
That's right.
Yes. So tell us about projects of that sort that has already been established and is actually working.
Yes. The finalized projects that are already working, as you said, we have the universities. We have in the first phase of the new administrative capital around 7 international universities. 2 or 3 of them, I think 3 of them are working in this term, and there is one of them working from the previous year. We have the roads are already finalized leading to these universities. And they have the full facilities there.
And services, yes.
Yes, the water, the electricity, and even the Wi-Fi service. We are trying to catch time in order to give them the environment to study and to receive the students. Actually, we have restrictions in our new administrative capital that the universities that will have their branch there should have a protocol or a partnership with one of the top 50 universities all over the world. So not an ordinary university.
It's not ordinary, definitely not.
Yes, that's right. In order to have a different also platform and to absorb the knowledge from the outside to help and to enhance the education at this level.
Yes. Now, Haytham, I mean, it's been almost 9 months now since the pandemic broke out, and many countries are either lockdowns, have suffered tremendously economically due to the pandemic and the closures and so forth. But I mean, thank God, and I believe that's a blessing and a will of the people, that Egypt is possibly the only country around the world that is still working and is still keen to develop and to construct and to continue with their projects, and nothing was put on hold. People were taking into consideration the precautionary measures, but still also keen to continue working with these measures and continue their developments. I do know that possibly the deadlines and the dates of inauguration for several things have been carried on to next year because of the pandemic, but nothing really stopped. I mean, work didn't stop. Tell us about this. I mean, it's very admiring, and I want to know, and I want people to understand the determination of the Egyptians to actually continue and progress with development in light of the pandemic, and at the same time maintain precautionary measures. How did they balance this, in your perspective?
Yes, thanks to God at the beginning, as really it's a blessing to our country, and I hope the conditions move safer and safer over the coming days for us and for all our families. But the first days of the pandemic, or let's say the first 1 or 2 months, they were very tough to us on the sites, as some of the sites really had locked down the site for 2 or 3 weeks in order to reform our conditions and to put the strategy for the coming month how we will work. And thanks God by the Egyptian will of all the elements working in the new capital, and by the support of Mr. President and also Minister of Housing and Minister of Health, all the nations supporting the construction industry to be pushed forward in order to overcome and to work considering the precautions. It's not easy
Definitely
for the workers that one working on site on the very high temperature, and you ask him to wear the face mask,
Definitely,
or
yes.
to have a places or a distances. It's very, very difficult. But actually, we educate. We try to educate people, and we are very objective. They want to work. We have no luxury to stay at home.
Definitely, yes.
Yes, this we cannot stay at home. We have to cope with the conditions. We have to cope with these circumstances on all levels, as the sites and even the equipment imported from outside, and the tests that should be done. We have workarounds all the time.
Definitely.
We try to develop solutions in order to see, as you to see in the report, this massive progress.
Well, it's actually outstanding progress, Engineer Haytham, and God bless you guys all, because it is very difficult, but it is also very inspiring to see that despite all the challenges in the pandemic, that people are still keen to work, and they're still keen to further work on deadlines also as well, which is a bit difficult to keep up with. Engineer Haytham Atta, Contracts and Commercial Manager at the Administrative Capital for the Urban Development. Thank you very much for joining me here on the Daily Debate. And
Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. And of course, it is always marvelous to actually reflect back on what's happening on concrete ground. You see the cameras that are always being taking these different shots, and what's happening at the new administrative capital is really breathtaking. And with all the people that are working and cooperating together, but also having a leadership and a president who is keen on to inspect himself and make sure that everything is working as on schedule, and also it helps boost the morals up of these workers, knowing that their work is being seen, it's being echoed, and they're being appreciated as well. And we all appreciate, of course, every single person who's working very hard for this country. We'll go out on a short break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.